Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India, India's voice to the world. This is News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister Modi positions India as a global textile powerhouse. Launches Bharat Tex 2024, celebrating the mantra of vocal for local. Israel, United States, Qatar and Egypt come to an understanding on the basic contours of the hostage deal. Further talks are likely in Doha and Cairo to reach an agreement on a truce. 5 years of the Balakote Air Strike, India's hard power retaliation to the Pulwama terror attack inside Pakistan. Jurel powers India to a memorable victory against England on a rank turner at Ranchi. Fourth innings application pays off, takes an unassailable 3-1 series victory. Reaffirming India's position as a global textile powerhouse, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Bharat Tex 2024. The event aims to boost investment, trade and exports in the textile sector. Here's Dibyendu Mondal with the report.
Bharat Tex 2024 was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Monday at Bharat Mandapam, New Delhi. It is one of the largest global textile events hosted by India. Organized by a consortium of 11 textile export promotion councils and supported by the government, this event emphasizes on trade, investment and sustainability. Addressing the event, Prime Minister Modi said that the focus remains on talent, training and empowering the MSMEs or the micro, small and medium enterprises.
भारत टैक्स का ये सूत्र भारत के गौरवशाली इतिहास को आज की प्रतिभा से जोड़ रहा है। भारत टैक्स का ये सूत्र टेक्नोलॉजी को ट्रेडिशन के संग पिरो रहा है। जिस तरह एक लूम कई धागों को एक साथ जोड़ता है, उसी तरह ये आयोजन भारत और विश्व के धागों को भी एक साथ जोड़ रहा है।
With over 65 knowledge sessions featuring 100 global panelists, dedicated pavilions on sustainability and interactive fabric testing zones, Bharat Tex 2024 showcases India's prowess in textiles. PM Modi highlighted the major boost of FDI in the textile sector.
आज पूरे देश में वोकल फॉर लोकल और लोकल टू ग्लोबल का जन आंदोलन चल रहा है। आप सब तो अच्छी तरह जानते हैं कि छोटे छोटे बुनकरों, लघु और कुटीर उद्योगों के पास एडवर्टाइजमेंट के लिए, मार्केटिंग के लिए बजट नहीं होता है और हो भी नहीं सकता है। इसलिए इनका प्रचारक आप करें या न करें, मोदी कर रहा है।
Expecting participation from policymakers, global CEOs, exhibitors, buyers from over 100 countries and thousands of visitors, this event aims to boost investment, trade and exports in the textile sector. Over 50 announcements and business agreements are expected to be signed at the Bharat Tex 2024.
Bharat Tex 2024 focuses on the entire textile value chain, from farm to foreign via fiber, fabric and fashion. It leaves behind a legacy of innovation, collaboration and sustainable growth in the textile sector. Along with my colleague Dibyendu Mondal and camera person Naveen, this is Taposh Bhattacharya for DD India from Delhi.
Well, that was Tapas Bhattacharya's report, and Dibyendu Mondal is now joining us with more on this story. Dibyendu, how does this event position India as a global textile powerhouse?
Well, absolutely, Mark. You know, this is perhaps one of the largest ever textile event that has been organized here in the national capital of Delhi. Of course, because it will have over 100 countries participating, over more than 50 CEOs from different parts of the country as well as from abroad. The Prime Minister, while speaking at the event, at the inaugural ceremony at Bharat Mandapam, he has categorically said that, India should be the leader in the textile industry, and the fashion should flow from India to the world, and it should not be the other way around. The Indian fashion should make a mark in the world, and he has also given some important ideas, especially with respect to Africa, as well as to the pygmies found in many parts of the world. Prime Minister also spoke about how the Indian fashion industry can cater to the markets in these countries and to these ethnic groups across the world. India's fashion industry is growing, and the Prime Minister also spoke about how from 2014 to 2024, the industry has grown manifold. From an industry from 7 lakh crore in 2014, it has gone to more than 12 lakh crore in 2023. So, this also speaks volumes about how the industry grew over the last 10 years. And also, the fashion industry and the textile industry in India is a major industry because, we have one of the finest cottons available from across the world, where, we export those finest cottons to many parts of the world. So therefore, not just this event is just a gateway for India's textile and fashion industry to the world.
Indeed. Dibyendu, talking about fashion now, textiles are definitely closely linked to fashion. How well placed are fashion brands, in India, taking advantage of the market potential?
Oh, well, of course, India's khadi is one of the biggest trendsetter across many parts of the world. Remember, we have seen several world leaders, even during G20, wearing khadi. So, khadi has made a remarkable mark in the world. And not just this, India's also the circular textile, which Prime Minister Narendra Modi also wore a jacket made up of recycled plastic, giving a message that, circular textile, which could be made out of waste, is something that the world can learn from India. And the Indian fashion brands, many of the Indian fashion brands are also now going global. So, in fact, Prime Minister also spoke today about how India's fashion industry can be a trendsetter and can lead the way for many other countries to follow. Remember the many different saris that we have. The Prime Minister also spoke about these saris from Tamil Nadu to Jammu and Kashmir, and also from Gujarat's Patola to the many dresses and forms of traditional wears in the northeast part of India. Also, remember the Banarasi silk, the Banarasi sari. That is very, very unique to India. So India's way to the world, and the 5 Fs that the Prime Minister spoke about and had given a vision for the textile industry this morning, that from farm to foreign via fiber and factory should be the way that India would be leading the fashion industry in the coming time.
Indeed. Also, India has for long been producing for international brands in the Western fashion space. So is there a sign also of the best from both worlds emerging?
Well, of course, one of the most important factor why many of the Western brands have chosen to come to India and set up their manufacturing units is also because the Prime Minister's push for Make in India, and also the labor in India is widely available and at a very cheaper rate than of the European or the American market. So also, the shift from the Bangladesh market to India for textile is something that the government is also trying to cash in. So therefore, of course, the amalgamation of Western as well as Indian to make product of such nature which can be exported to the world is something that this industry is looking forward to, and the vision was set very clearly by the Prime Minister this morning while he was addressing the inaugural session of the Bharat Textile Expo 2024. Back to you.
Thanks very much, Dibyendu Mandal, joining us from New Delhi. As awareness grows about the environmental impact of clothing and the production of clothing, there is an increasing demand for recycled textiles, as Dibyendu was saying. Circular textile products prioritize longevity as well as durability, and they use eco-friendly materials. At the Bharat Tex 2024, Prime Minister Narendra Modi received a gift which was a jacket crafted from recycled textile waste, highlighting the importance of reducing material waste, aligning it with the principles of the mission life of India. Tapas Bhattacharya reports.
Bharat Tex 2024 kickstarted by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, and I have with me this particular jacket which was gifted to Prime Minister Modi, and this is done by 100% recycled fabric. Mr. Bhadresh, tell us this particular fabric you have gifted to Prime Minister Modi. What is its significance? We have seen that it's written 100% recycled fabric. Tell us more about this.
In the world today, which is fast fashion, sustainability is a subject which has evolved for essential textiles today. And today the world is looking at more and more sustainable textiles. This product emphasizes on sustainability, which is made out of 100% recycled fibers, which is 60% recycled cotton and 40% plastic bottles, PET fibers.
Right.
So this is a symbol for us on technical sustainable textiles.
And Prime Minister Narendra Modi himself talks about Mission Life, where he talks about sustainability, and this is what a better way to give him this particular jacket, isn't it?
Oh, it's such an honor, and we are really honored to have this Prime Minister leading our cause and show it to the world that we are ready for future textiles.
We are ready for future textile, and look at this particular jacket. It's quite smart, it's quite beautiful, and who would say that this is made of 60% of recycled fabric, and this is the future. And as Mr. Bhadresh said, that India is going ahead in the mission life mode, and with Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision in that, they are going ahead and they are following in that footstep. With camera person Naveen, this is Tapas Bhattacharya for GD India from Delhi.
The chairman of Bharat Tex 2024, Naren Goenka, has said that India's Prime Minister has always pushed for sustainability in the textile sector, and the industry is growing rapidly to achieve this.
Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has always guided us for the sustainability, for the women empowerment, and this industry is going very rapidly to achieve this.
India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi also laid the foundation stone, inaugurated and dedicated to the nation around 2,000 railway infrastructure projects. He did so via video conference, and the Prime Minister laid the foundation stone for the redevelopment of 553 railway stations under the Amrit Bharat Station scheme. Also, other projects include redevelopment of stations, 1,500 road overbridges and underpasses. These projects will reduce congestion, enhance safety and connectivity, improve capacity and efficiency of rail travel.
दशकों तक रेलवे को हमारे यहाँ की स्वार्थ भरी राजनीति का शिकार होना पड़ा, लेकिन अब भारतीय रेलवे देशवासियों के लिए ईज ऑफ ट्रैवल का मुख्य आधार बन रही है। जिस रेलवे के हमेशा घाटे में होने का रोना रोया जाता था, आज वो रेलवे परिवर्तन के सबसे बड़े दौर से गुजर रही है।
Still to come here on DD India News Hour, the Deputy Prime Minister of Thailand, Panpri Bahida Nukara, begins a 4-day official visit to India. India's Ministry of External Affairs clarifies its position on reports of Indians in the Russian army. Hungary is set to ratify Sweden's NATO accession, clearing the last hurdle.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility.
teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lind. Thailand's Deputy Prime Minister and Foreign Minister Parnpree Bahiddha-Nukara arrived in India's capital New Delhi on Monday for a 4-day official visit, and Nukara will be co-chairing the 10th India-Thailand Joint Commission meeting with India's External Affairs Minister Jai Shankar at the Hyderabad House in Delhi on Tuesday. During his visit, Nukara is scheduled to meet the Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar. India's Ministry of External Affairs has rubbished media reports regarding Indians with the Russian army seeking help for discharge. In a tweet, the Ministry of External Affairs writes, "Each and every such case brought to the attention of the Indian Embassy in Moscow has been strongly taken up with the Russian authorities, and those brought to the attention of the Ministry have been taken up with the Russian Embassy in New Delhi. Several Indians have already been discharged as a result. We remain committed as a matter of top priority to actively pursue with the Russian authorities all the relevant cases of Indian nationals for an early discharge from the Russian army." Now, Russian forces warded off multiple attacks by Ukrainian forces in various directions, including Avdiivka, Zaporizhia and Kupiansk. The Russians also struck Ukrainian electronic warfare stations and an ammunition depot. They intercepted multiple HIMARS rockets and drones, as well as 2 missiles launched by Ukraine over the waters of the Black Sea. This is according to Russian sources. Meanwhile, Ukraine and Russia launched 14 attack drones and a barrage of missiles in the overnight attack. Also, Ukraine's air defenses destroyed 9 drones and 3 guided missiles over the Kharkiv and Dnipropetrovsk regions. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that the Russian forces will attempt to conduct another offensive in Ukraine in late May or summer. He added that Ukraine is prepared for Russia's assault.
Russia will prepare counter-offensive actions in the beginning of summer or at the end of May, if they can, that is. They will prepare, we will prepare for their assault. Their assault that began on October 8th has not brought any results, I think. We from our side will prepare our plan and will counter their actions. The critical moments will be the elections in the United States, and only then we will understand what will happen in regards to this after the elections.
The U.S. National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan underscored the United States' commitment to deliver weapons and ammunition to Ukraine.
The United States will continue alongside our allies and partners to try to get Ukraine all of the tools and capabilities that it needs to be able to conduct this fight as rapidly and as efficiently as we possibly can.
A day after Ukraine marked its 2nd anniversary of Russia's full-scale offensive, Kiev held the year 2024 forum to discuss the year ahead. The Defense Minister Rustem Umerov said 50% of the Western arms deliveries were delayed. Megumi Lim puts it into context.
Ukraine's top officials took part in the year 2024 forum on Sunday and laid out the country's goals for the year ahead. Mikhailo Fedorov, the Minister of Digital Transformation, reiterated Kiev's goal of producing 1 million drones. And Alexander Kamyshin, the Minister of Strategic Industries, said Ukraine's defense capabilities will increase 6-fold this year. But Ukraine's Defense Minister Rustem Umerov gave a grim account of Western military aid. He said 50% of arms deliveries were not being delivered on time.
Since the situation is always dynamic, at the moment, commitment doesn't constitute delivery. 50% of commitments are not delivered on time. So which means that in the mathematics of war, we look to the enemy. Their economy is almost 2 trillion.
Zelensky's peace formula was also discussed ahead of the peace summit to be hosted by Switzerland this year. Zelensky's chief of staff, Andriy Yermak, said Ukraine and its foreign partners could invite Russia to the summit if it was willing to discuss an end to the war on Kiev's terms. Now, Zelensky held a press conference after the forum where he appealed for more support from the United States. He said Ukraine was in need of aid within a month. He also gave a rare account of troop losses, saying 31,000 Ukrainian soldiers have been killed since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion.
I hope the first summit, the inaugurational one, will take place as per today's information in the spring. We cannot afford to lose the diplomatic initiative. It will take place in Switzerland. We would like the second summit to take place somewhere else on the European continent.
Megumi Lim in Kiev reporting for DD India.
Well, Hungary is expected to ratify Sweden's NATO accession. This is going to happen. We are moving on to our next story. Yes, Hungary is expected to ratify Sweden's NATO accession on Monday, clearing the last hurdle before the historic step by the Nordic country. Sweden applied 2 years ago to join the North Atlantic Treaty Organization in a historic shift in policy prompted by Russia's full-scale conflict with Ukraine. Hungary was the last member of NATO holding out Sweden's application. Hungary's Prime Minister met Swedish counterpart on Friday and said that he had managed to rebuild trust. Earlier, Finland became the 31st NATO member last year. Finland's membership was the result of an 11-month process that began after Russia's offensive in Ukraine. And when Sweden joins NATO, it will help the alliance to redress its vulnerabilities in the northwest of Europe, the Baltic Sea, a shared waterway with Russia, with the bottleneck for access to ports in 8 states, including Germany. Stockholm is aiming to spend 2% of its GDP on defense by 2026 to increase its military capacity across land, sea and air. According to the chief of the military, the Nordic country aims to double its number of conscripts from an estimated 24,000 in 2025 to 50,000 in 2035. Sweden has been operating submarines in the Baltic since 1904, and Sweden hopes that its submarines will give the NATO a strategic edge in the Baltic Sea. An Israeli delegation will depart this week for the Qatari capital Doha to continue talks over a Gaza truce deal. And the follow-up comes after talks in Paris over the weekend, which these talks were attended by the chief of Israel's spy agency Mossad, as well as the domestic security service Shin Bet, and mediators from the United States, Qatar and Egypt. The United States said that these countries have agreed on basic contours of a hostage deal. Another round of talks is likely to be held in Cairo. However, there is no confirmation regarding the same. The Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu on Sunday said that it's not clear yet whether a hostage deal would materialize from the ongoing talks. He said that Hamas needed to come down to a reasonable position, a reasonable situation for a deal. Netanyahu's remarks came as Israeli Security Cabinet is expected to approve military plans for Rafah, including the evacuation of over 1 million Palestinian civilians who have been sheltering there. And DD India correspondent Sarah Coates now joins us live from Tel Aviv. Sarah, what's the update on the hostage talks?
Hello there, Mark. Well, there is quiet optimism that there may be some sort of a deal achieved. We do know that this Israeli delegation is set to meet other negotiators today in the Qatari capital, Doha. They will be discussing technical parts of the deal, like which hostages would be released and which Palestinian prisoners would be set free. It comes after the United States said that an understanding was reached in Paris over the weekend over the contours of a deal. A source close to these talks says that around 40 hostages would be released, around 100 or so Palestinian prisoners, and that there would be a pause in fighting for around 6 weeks. It comes as Hamas has reportedly softened its stance on some of the things it's been demanding, including an immediate ceasefire. It is now willing to potentially talk about this in stages. So certainly it does seem as though there's movement, and it really comes as though there's a lot of pressure internationally being put on Israel, especially since it's given this deadline of Ramadan, which is set to fall on around March 10 for this operation into the southern Gazan city of Rafah, where, as you mentioned, around 1.5 million internally displaced Palestinians are sheltering. So it is certainly a topic we'll be following very, very closely throughout the day with, as I mentioned, the Israeli delegation now in Qatar.
Sarah, you know, there's a plan that's been released for the evacuation of people from Rafah. What does it say?
Mark, the IDF presented this plan to the Israeli War Cabinet over the weekend. According to the Prime Minister's office, it is for the evacuation of these people, but at this stage, the details remain extremely sketchy. It's not been disclosed yet as to where these 1.5 or so million internally displaced Palestinians would go to, but also, according to the PMO's office, the Cabinet has approved the provision of humanitarian aid to southern Gaza in a way that it wouldn't be looted from trucks like was seen in the northern parts of the Strip. Now, the Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, he is vowing that this operation into the southern Gazan city of Rafah will go ahead with or without a deal, with a lot of concern, as I said, internationally. And this comes as protests are only continuing to mount here in Israel over Netanyahu's handling of this war. Over the weekend, there were a number of people demanding that he step down, and it's also important to add that Israel has now launched an investigation into police brutality in some of these protests. We know that around 21 people were arrested in Tel Aviv over the weekend, with a number of other people injured, with a video circulating widely on social media showing a mounted police officer appearing to whip a demonstrator with the reins of his horse. Mark.
We leave it there. Thank you very much. Sarah Coates from Tel Aviv. Meanwhile, Israeli Defense Forces are continuing their operations against Hamas in Gaza. The IDF forces killed more than 30 terrorists in Gaza City, the Zoutan district, and in central Gaza, over 10 terrorists and an armed terrorist cell were eliminated. The IDF troops also struck terrorist compound in southern Gaza's Khan Yunis, locating weapon parts along with grenades, ammunition and other military equipment. Time to take a look at other news from around the world. The Maldives' former Foreign Minister Abdullah Shahid has debunked President Mohamed Muizzi's claims about the Indian military presence in the Maldives, labeling it as a string of lies. Shahid said that there is no deployment of armed foreign soldiers in the country. Earlier, Muizzi had said that an agreement was reached to withdraw Indian military personnel from the Maldives. Tuvalu announced Felito Tio as its new prime minister after he was elected unopposed by lawmakers in the Pacific Island nation. Felito Tio was Tuvalu's first attorney general and has received unanimous support from the 16 lawmakers. The Film Independent Spirit Awards in Santa Monica, California saw Celine's Song, The Past Lives, win the top Best Feature prize. Oscar nominees Lily Gladstone and Davine Joy Randolph, who won the Spirit Award for Best Supporting Performance for The Holdovers, also attended. Some of Hollywood's most creative and talented filmmakers celebrated their achievements walking the red carpet on Sunday in Hollywood at this year's Producers Guild Awards. Among the attendees at the gala were the stars from the films Oppenheimer, Killers of the Flower Moon and Barbie's Margot Robbie. The night honors list nominees. Still to come here on DD India News Hour. Trump concentrates on the November elections, even though Haley is still persisting in giving the Republicans another choice. The 13th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization has begun in Abu Dhabi, and the WTO chief says that the world may undershoot the 3.3% merchandise trade growth that was expected this year. South Korea doctors, they risk suspension if they don't return to work.
In a world that never stops, where information shapes our reality, one app stands out, helps you stay ahead of time. Introducing the DD India app, your gateway to a world of news right at your fingertips. Your most trusted source of news goes global, goes digital. Explore a world of options, top stories, live updates, in-depth analysis, and more. Stay informed wherever you are. Real-time alerts keep you ahead of the curve always. The DD India app, connecting you to the world one story at a time. Download now and explore the world of knowledge, insights, and authentic information.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Here's a recap of our main stories. Prime Minister Modi positions India as a global textile powerhouse, launches the Bharat Tex 2024, celebrating the mantra of vocal for local. 5 years of the Balakote Air Strike, India's hard power retaliation to the Pulwama terror attack inside Pakistan. And Jurel powers India to a memorable victory against England on a rank turner at Ranchi. The fourth innings application pays off, takes unassailable 3-1 series lead. The 13th Ministerial Conference of the World Trade Organization commenced on Monday in Abu Dhabi in the United Arab Emirates. Trade ministers from across the globe evaluated the functioning of the multilateral trading system, and also they are charting a course for the future. The WTO ambassador Ataya Lezibia, the chairman of the WTO General Council, delivered the report highlighting progress and also called this meet an opportunity towards a positive trajectory for the organization.
Over the coming days, towards our shared objective and responsibility of a successful 13th WTO Ministerial Conference is more important than ever. In particular, among the growing economic uncertainties and geopolitical tensions, we must collectively ensure that the WTO is fit to respond to the challenges of today. These coming days will be crucially important, and I very much hope that members will seize this opportunity to discuss, exchange views, and attain further convergence with a view to providing the much-needed direction to ensure a strong and positive trajectory for the organization.
And the Director General of the WTO, Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, welcomed the new member states, Timor-Leste as well as Comoros, to the organization. She said that 22 more countries were seeking membership.
I'm delighted to say that we are kicking off this meeting with some excellent news. Here at MC13, the WTO is welcoming its first new members in almost 8 years, Timor-Leste and Comoros. We celebrate the hard work they have put in and the beneficial but challenging reforms they have implemented at home. Both countries are least developed countries, and we are excited to see them reap the gains of membership as they become new members of the WTO. 22 more countries are seeking to follow in their footsteps. Many of them are present here as observers, including a sizable contingent from the Arab world. Comoros and Timor-Leste will bring the WTO to 166 members, and we look forward to adding to that number in the years ahead.
The U.S. President Joe Biden will meet with congressional leaders on Tuesday to discuss funding the government as a partial shutdown deadline looms on Friday. Biden will meet with the top Democrats as well as Republicans from both the House and the Senate, and he also plans to discuss a stalled national security bill that provides assistance to Ukraine, Israel and Taiwan. The meeting comes as lawmakers remain at a stalemate to avoid a shutdown. Funding is due to run out on March 1 for some federal agencies, including the Department of Transportation, while others, like the Department of Defense, face a March 8 deadline. The former U.S. President Donald Trump is moving forward with campaigns that challenge current President Joe Biden. It's not official that he is the presumptive Republican Party nominee after winning the latest primary election in South Carolina against Nikki Haley. Here's Caroline Malone with the report.
Well, Nikki Haley hasn't admitted complete defeat just yet, despite having lost the South Carolina Republican primary to Donald Trump. In her concession speech that she gave late on Saturday night, she said she's a woman of her word and she had promised to carry on campaigning and to give the Republican Party voters an alternative, an option that's not Donald Trump. And she says that's what she's going to do. In fact, she has 7 places on her agenda to visit and campaign at over the next week and a half. Now, in terms of the results itself, she actually did fractionally better than expected. In the final tally, Donald Trump got about 70% of votes. Nikki Haley just under 40%, so she lost by about 20 points, which is slightly smaller than polls had predicted that she would, saying she might lose by as much as 30 points. However, Donald Trump very much still the winner in South Carolina and very much likely to be the presumptive Republican Party candidate for president going forward. We'll see more of that on Super Tuesday. That's a day on March the 5th when we have 16 US territories and states holding their primary elections to decide on their party's nomination for presidential candidates. Donald Trump, again, likely to do well in those states, and then it will become almost certain that he is the Republican Party's choice. However, Nikki Haley may still pick up some delegates. She may gain some in places such as Texas, where she still does retain some support. For Donald Trump, though, moving forward, he is already calling it certain, saying that he is the Republican Party's candidate and moving gender items towards campaigning against President Biden right now, calling out President Biden for what he calls bad action on the economy, saying he's going to fix the economy for people, also crack down on border security. Caroline Malone in Charleston, South Carolina for DD India.
Well, shifting focus to the Asia-Pacific, South Korea's government has warned the doctors to return to work or risk being punished for staging a week-long protest. The country's vice health minister said that the doctors might face the suspension of their licenses or other legal repercussions if they do not return to work by the end of February. In South Korea, 2/3 of the nation's residents and intern doctors, they had walked out of their jobs to protest against the government's plan to increase medical school admissions. The association has requested the government to cancel the plan, saying that the higher medical school admissions will only lower the overall medical education level in South Korea and won't solve the medical resources imbalance. Japan's space agency said that its slim moon lander has unexpectedly survived a freezing lunar night and re-established communication with the Earth more than a month after the spacecraft made a historic pinpoint touchdown on the moon. The SLIM, in short for Smart Lander for investigating the moon, it made Japan the 5th country to put a probe on the moon. The Indian Air Force had conducted the Balakote Air Strike on February 26, 2019, targeting a Jaish-e-Mohammed facility in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region. It was codenamed Operation Bandar, and it was in response to the Pulwama terrorist attack in India. An unabashed hard power show of capability and intent, The Balakote Air Strike carried out by the Indian Air Force is a watershed moment in India's defence prowess, and it was carried out to avenge the martyrdom of 40 CRPF bravehearts on the 14th of February 2019. That was the Pulwama terror attack. Sakal Bhatt gets us more.
अभी पुलवामा हमला हुआ तो भारत के वीरों ने जो काम किया, ऐसा काम दशकों तक कभी नहीं हुआ। हमारे वीरों ने आतंकियों को उनके घर में घुस करके मारा।
The Balakot Air Strike carried out by the Indian Air Force marks its 4th anniversary on February 26, 2024. It was a punitive strike conducted by Indian Air Force on Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorist facility in Pakistan's Khyber Pakhtunkhwa region, conducted on 26th of February 2019. Codenamed Operation Bandar, it was in retaliation for the Pulwama terror attack of February 14, 2019. On 14th February 2019 afternoon, martyrdom of 40 Central Police forces shook the entire nation. Jaish-e-Mohammed suicide bomber rammed an explosive-laden car into a CRPF convoy at Lethepura in the Pulwama district of Jammu and Kashmir of India. A week and few days later, Indian forces avenged this dastardly terror attack.
In an intelligence-led operation in the early hours of today, India struck the biggest training camp of the Jaish-e-Mohammed in Balakot. In this operation, a very large number of Jaish-e-Mohammed terrorists, trainers, senior commanders and groups of jihadis who were being trained for Fidai in action were eliminated.
At around 3:30 a.m. on February 26th, the Indian Air Force fighter jets flew from the Gwalior Air Force Base and entered into Pak-occupied Kashmir. The jets demolished the Jaish-e-Mohammed terror camps in Balakot in the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa province of Pakistan. The entire operation lasted for about 21 minutes. Later the same day, the Indian government confirmed the airstrikes and characterized it to be the preemptive strike directed against a terrorist training camp in Pakistan. A total of 16 aircraft, at least 6 each armed with Spice 2000 and Crystal Maze missiles with penetrator warheads, crossed the line of control and flew into Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. They hit Balakot terror camp. Warheads were dropped on 3 targets in Balakot by Indian Air Force's Mirage 2000s. The target camp was approximately 80 kilometers from the line of control. Indian forces ensured 0 civilian casualty. India's out-of-the-box response displayed India's defence capability and affirmed its right to defend itself against terrorism. The Indian government described Balakote Air Strike as an event of military precision and impact. Thus, in the annals of Indian history, Balakote Air Strike serves as tribute to 40 martyred Pulwama attack bravehearts. Indian forces avenged that with a befitting response, ensuring that the sacrifices of Pulwama martyrs do not go waste. Balakot strike of 2019, 26 February ensured just that.
Sakal Bhatt's report for DD India.
Let's take a look now at other stories making the news. India's President Draupadi Murmu graced the 107th annual day and convocation ceremony of Lady Hardinge Medical College in New Delhi on Monday. Speaking on the occasion, the President said that today medical science is not limited to just treatment. Its scope has become very wide. She also expressed confidence that the medical fraternity will work in accordance with ethics and high values in their professional life. India's Vice President Jagdeep Dhankar conferred degrees and awarded gold medals to the graduates of Mizoram University during the 18th convocation ceremony on Monday. Speaking on the occasion, the Vice President said that this is the time to think big and make Mizoram a tourism hub. India's Allahabad High Court on Monday dismissed the Gyanvapi Mosque Committee's appeal challenging the Varanasi District Court's decision to offer prayers in a cellar in the Gyanvapi Mosque complex. Last month, the District Court had allowed puja in the southern cellar of the Gyanvapi Mosque complex. Now, still to come here on DD India News Hour. Liverpool clinch a record-extending 10th English League Cup trophy, beating Chelsea 1-0.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds. We get to the heart of the matter.
We don't just present facts. We demystify complex social, political and economic events.
We break stories that shape the world's present and future because you deserve the truth.
I am Tanvi Taneja from New Delhi.
I'm Ollie Barrett from London.
I'm Nick Harper from Washington, D.C.
Join us on DD India Global Monday to Friday at these times.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Mark Lynn. Now, it's been more than 75 years since India and Sweden established diplomatic relations. The two countries have enhanced their ties beyond strategic cooperation. Jessica Taneja has the details.
We have with us Sweden's ambassador to India, Jan Teslev. Thank you for speaking to DD India. 75 years of a relationship between India and Sweden. We've enhanced our cooperation further beyond traditional sectors as well. The trade between them seems to be doing all right. What more can we expect from this relationship moving forward?
You said 75 years of relations. That's actually the diplomatic relations. We were here since independence. But of course our relations goes back much further, and especially both trade relations but also cultural relations. And today we are inaugurating this mural, 75 years, commemorating those years. But I'm looking ahead. I want to look at the coming 75 years. And we will do well in innovation, in entrepreneurship, in sustainability. But we can't do anything of this if we don't have culture.
Hungary is going to ratify Sweden's membership to NATO. India and Sweden have had, as you said, relationship since independence and much before that, since the non-alignment movement. How does that impact the relationship between the two, especially in defense cooperation? Does it change anything, or perhaps we could see more in that direction?
I think we will see more in that direction. I think that Sweden, once we become a NATO member, will be an even more interesting partner for India. We are here with the technology. We are not bringing technology only to India. We are co-creating technology with India. We are manufacturing, we are creating in this country. Make in India. It's in our DNA, and that's what we will continue to do, and you will see more of that.
With the heightened geopolitical activity in the Indo-Pacific, what can India and Sweden do in terms of cooperation?
My foreign minister, Tobias Billström, was here last week. He was here for the amazing Raisina dialogue, and he had meetings with his counterpart, the Honorable Dr. Jai Shankar, with many other ministers from all over the world. Delhi is the meeting place of the world.
You're watching DD India News Hour, and now let's get you all the sports news. And with me is Deepika Mehta. Over to you, Deepika.
Thanks and good afternoon, Mark. It's been a very great day for the Indian cricket fans because India has clinched the series against England. So India accomplished a nervy chase to secure a 5-wicket victory against Team England in the 4th test on Monday and claim an unassailable 3-1 lead in the 5-match Test series. Chasing a modest 192 for victory, India cruised to 84 for no loss, with openers Rohit Sharma and Yashasvi Jaiswal giving them a flying start. The English spinners, led by Shoaib Bashir, then engineered a collapse that left India reeling at 120 for a loss of 5 wickets. Shubman Gill and Dhruv Jurel combined in an unbroken stand of 72 for the 6th wicket to clinch India's victory on the penultimate day of the contest. Now, this is England's first series defeat under captain Ben Stokes and head coach Brendan McCullum. So this was a really historic victory for Team India, and we saw the presence of young debutants including Dhruv Jurel, Sarfaraz Khan, who really played very well on the field. When it comes, we saw emotional videos of both the parents of both the players as well, who were talking about their star players now. And now we will go across live to Narayan Singh, who's joining us from Newsroom. Narayan, good afternoon. This is a historic victory for Team India, especially when we talk about no Virat Kohli, no Mohammad Shami, and yet Team India completely ruptured the bazball approach.
True, if you take a look at this match, the way India won, especially this match, at one point of time, it was looking like that England can win this match, but the kind of we can say the way India retaliated, especially today, at one point of time, India lost 4 or 5 wickets, and after that, the wicket was favoring the spin bowlers, and it was really difficult for the batsmen to play. And but the way our youngster, and that is true in the absence of the modern day great like Virat Kohli, it shows that the future of the Indian cricket is bright. And if we talk about our youngster, the way Yashasvi Jaiswal in this series so far, he scored 2 double hundreds, and in this match also he played a crucial knock. If you talk about the way Kuldeep Yadav, the spinner, he played a crucial role in the first inning, especially the way he played the knock of 28 runs. It is 28 runs, but if you take a look at the valuability of those runs, it is of immense value. And his partnership, along with the way he stitched the partnership with Dhruv Jurel, it was fantastic, and that was the turning point of the match. But most importantly, if you take a look the whole series from the first match where India lost the match, and after that they made a bounce back and won this series and took an unassailable lead of 3-1. It is a big thing considering the fact that the bazball, the cricket, the kind of cricket the England plays, definitely they never lost a series before this series under their bazball era. It started in May 2022 when Brendan McCullum and Ben Stokes came together and played a fearless brand of cricket. And under bazball era, they played seven series before this series, and they won 4 and never lost the series. 3 series ended in draw. So this shows that India has now tamed the bazball cricket. We are just before the series also, we are just talking about, every cricket expert was talking about whether the bazball will sustain in India. Finally, the Indian cricketers, especially the youngsters, the kind of cricket they played, they showed that they have the enough potential. And also we should praise the selectors for giving a chance to the Gen X player, and they showed here that the branches of the India is great, and they can, especially in future, the future of the Indian cricket is looking bright.
All right, and also Dhruv Jurel has been adjudged as player of the match. Well, thank you so much, Narayan, for joining us right now and bringing us all the latest on this historic victory for Team India in cricket. And now let's shift our focus to soccer. English soccer club Liverpool clinched their 10th English League Cup trophy on Sunday, defeating Chelsea by 1-0 at Wembley Arena. Virgil van Dijk, his extra time goal in the 28th minute of extra time settled a tense clash that had ended in a 0-0 regulation. Now, manager Jurgen Klopp clinched an 8th piece of major silverware at Liverpool, and he also ensured that he will not end his final year at the club empty-handed. Klopp will step down at the end of the season, but victory at the League Cup has kept his team on course for an improbable quadruple of trophies. Liverpool currently leads the Premier League table and is still in contention for the FA Cup as well as Europa League. Staying on soccer, Luka Modric rolled back the years with a sublime late winner against Sevilla as Real Madrid moved 8 points clear at the top of La Liga. With England midfielder Jude Bellingham absent for Real for a third consecutive time, the contest looked to be heading towards a goalless draw. However, Croatia midfielder Modric curled in 7 minutes after his introduction as a substitute. Now, Barcelona is on a second place with 57 points, followed by Girona, a point further back at third. So that was a quick wrap from the world of sports. Back to you, Mark.
Thanks a lot, Deepika, and wonderful to see India batting so well in the fourth innings on that rank turner in Ranchi. It was quite a great match. And that's all we have in this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. You can connect with us on Facebook, X formerly known as Twitter, and Instagram. We will be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Mark Lynn, and with me is Deepika. All of us here in Delhi, thanks very much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.
We just don't bring you the news as it unfolds.